Hey Virgo, this is your Aquarius season, February 2024 reading. All information to work with me one-on-one is below, as well as the link to the extended version of this reading, which will be in the first link below, but give it about 24 to 48 hours for that to happen. I have like lots of colics in my hair, and I let it like dry naturally. So I might have to play around with it a little today. All right. Like, that would be any different from any other video, Susan, right? Oh, my name's Susan, and those of you who don't know my name either. I don't think anyone knows my name on here. That's funny. All right, well, let's get into your reading. You can tell I'm excited. I'm really excited to do your reading. But the cards want to read you. I'm not funny. Let's get serious. The Tower. It's a very serious card. But for a lot of you, the Tower moment probably already has happened. I'm doing this reading right around the full moon in Leo, like as it's happening. So by the time the full moon in Leo has hit you, then you probably, a couple of my cards got all wet, so the Tower's a little fucked up. And then the Page of Cups, and then the Strength card comes out, so that like clarifies, that validates us here. So by the time this moon has come out, there will already be this change that's already been occurring. For a lot of you, by the time of the full moon in Leo, the 25th, so this will be out after the 25th, this is the perfect time. Why? Because it's all changing now. You've had a moment to process whatever you have been able to process at this point. And you find out that this Page of Cups is really the universe. This is how Pluto transforms us, right? Any transformation, we see little tidbits and pieces of it throughout the year, of course. And any bits and pieces that we meet is nothing like when a whole planet is transitioning. So transitioning from Capricorn to Aquarius is leaving everyone with a moment like this. But for you, particularly, especially if you are a Virgo rising, you will have, for the most part, if your chart is set up like very generally, if you have no like other complications or complexities, not complications, then Aquarius would be in your 6th house. So this is work. This is the way you work, how you work, your day-to-day work. This house is also ruled by Libra, Venus. So this moment that is happening is this catalyst that you need for your courage. This also may be a moment where you've had to put your pride aside, because for some of you, you've been kind of moving back and forth about an endeavor, which is this Page of Cups here. You've been moving back and forth, thinking back and forth, putting energy in, whether it's mentally, because when a Virgo puts in mental energy, you're putting in emotional energy too, because that's your strength. That's a really big part of your strength. And we already have the Strength card out too. So that strength that you have, especially in the mind, especially to kind of move things along without actually moving along yet, this back and forth is coming to an end. This Tower moment, and we're going to talk even more about Pluto in the next video, but in the extended video, but this moment is about you and quieting down anything that has been stopping you. If you've been doing this stop and go thing, or this a little bit here and not giving it's like a Virgo. The reason why a Virgo is iffy is because if they're not sure, they know that somewhere along the line, it's going to be a no. They have to be so sure, which is why where I find that them and Scorpios kind of really relate to each other is that when they're loyal, they're so loyal. And when they commit, they're committing. They're committing to whatever it is that they're doing or the person that they're with. This moment, especially if it's with a Leo, you know, we'll get even deeper into that into the next part. But if this is with a Leo, they really they're finally deciding. And regardless of what they decide, it's changing your world. For a lot of you, it's not what you expect either. So this Leo full moon is showing you where in your life that you are 1 foot in, 1 foot out. And where you need to either take those feet out or put those feet in is now not just a mutual decision with you and the universe, it's a decision with the universe. It's showing you where it is that maybe your worth or a part of your sense of self, something that you value, has been a little bit too tied up. It's like you reined in a part of you that really needs freedom. There's perhaps a fear here that has held you back from this. And it's possible because regardless of your age, you've experienced maybe some financial success as well as relationship success, and you know what it takes to fully put yourself in something. But now, Virgo, I want you to remember that doing that doesn't always have to be an option anymore. You can have some space, right? You can have a moment here to recognize that this is a change that you've already, if you can think back even to like 6 months ago, this is a change that you were inviting at one point. We're gonna smoke a little together. The Venus transit in Leo and the retrograding and the, going back and forth. Sorry, I didn't mean to blow that in your face. I feel like that's what made it seem like this was okay. That maybe for a few months last year, from the summer into the winter, into the fall, this back and forth allowed you to think that that pattern was okay because it gave you validation, it gave you permission. Whatever came up at that time was what gave you permission. And now under this full moon, you're seeing a 360 view, or the 360 view of your life. And wherever hasn't felt like freedom or encouragement, there's this huge opposition of feeling that now. Wherever you haven't been able to have freedom within your mind, within your body, whether it's from hardship or trauma or even so what's interesting is that, some of us even feel like the trauma of good things happening, right? Because that is another, that's the duality, that's the polarity of like how much you'll feel. The opposition of that enjoyment and that amazingness is that feeling low when it's not always around. But that also comes from a mindset of not necessarily addiction, but like addictive tendency to feel X, Y, and Z, right? To feel a certain way. So if that's been the pattern, if that's been what's happening, of course, that's what you'll want to continue to experience. But now that you're breaking that and there's freedom, you realize that with this freedom, you may be free of some of those tendencies that you may have wanted or preferred before, or like a lifestyle or whatever it is. You're breaking free from a certain part of you that can't move forward into the next lifestyle, the next version of yourself, but you've experienced all of these versions, right? And it's interesting because this is what keeps coming to mind lately. Would you look at this? Would you? So on the other side of this is the freedom, is the risk taking, is that part of you that realizes that when you take a risk, it's not only calculated, it's this feeling that you feel so deeply within you. And the reason why you can get there now is because you have committed. You've made a decision. You've decided, and you're ready to see it through, whatever that means. Sorry, I have something in my eye. Whatever that means to you. And it's not coming from instability. Now, for some of you, if this is just about like an adrenaline rush, again, going back to that, then, and you haven't really felt this all the way through and sat with yourself, because I do feel like there's a nervous system moment here too, where you really need to sit with what's happening so you can feel it through, and you actually have the capacity to right now. So I definitely recommend that for a lot of you. You may have the chance to share too a lot about how you're moving forward. So this forward movement may open up your mind in a way in which you haven't had access to in a while, because there's been problem solving after problem solving after problem solving. And now there's this experience of like an opening. You know, it feels like even like an epiphany, a realization, a moment. And it's interesting because the way that the Hermit showed up, not that it's necessarily Virgo specifically, but the way that the Hermit has showed up in different readings really gave me a lot of energy towards your reading, because what I'm realizing now is that your month is so specific compared to everybody else's. There is, you've already kind of seen this coming, Virgo. You knew that this was going to happen, kind of, and you knew that you were going to have to take a certain kind of initiative and remain unattached but attached at the same time. And you're like, well, how do I do that? How do I figure that out? Or is this just about being fluid? Is this just about, this is at the bottom of the deck, is this just about the fluidity that you need now in your life? Like, if you want to get to know this version of yourself that you can't seem to hide or run from anymore, which would probably be your authentic self. So we don't even need the star card out. This is Aquarius season. There's this part of your authenticity that is revealing itself. Some other cards were gonna fall out. We'll just do a reshuffle. I didn't even look at all the cards. But the way that you relax into this, give yourself patience, right? This may draw out longer than just what's happening right now. You may even find that when you've held on too tight, learning to let things go for the evolution of experiencing more in a different way may appear. You may need to let go of a few things that you have going, a few relationships, responsibilities that just don't add up in the way that you know this. And this could be that, again, this indulgence with a feeling. This could be that adrenaline that you feel from risk, or this continuous pattern of, okay, I'm doing this, great, but then when something doesn't come from it right away, there's a lack of commitment, but then something shows up for you to allow you to commit even further, and realize that these ups and downs of emotions are what we have become as humans addicted to in our patterns or used to. It's not even just addicted to, that's what we're used to. That's what our habits have been. So when this leveling out happens with your nervous system and the decision that you make that comes together and the courage to move any pride aside, you may not have a choice because someone actually might say something to you. There could be a Leo in your life that does speak up. And where you are, it feels like it could feel many different ways. Sorry, I have MCT oil in this. I know that's an old trend, but I actually really love it. I love the in the butter too. I'm a big fan of that in my coffee. What you may notice is that you've been averse to risks that could potentially level things out or neutralize things for you because you can't predict that kind of stability, right? You have to put in work and effort, and not that you're not wanting to do that. It's just like, this is the time to do it. You're finally at a place where you've done this before, you've been here before, but this feels more real. There's something about the way that you trust yourself moving forward from this month that comes into, and maybe it's all of these Capricorn placements that are happening in Aquarius season. I mean, we're going to move into all the Aquarius placements by the end of the month, but in the meantime, until the next new moon, because it will happen all around that, within that week and a half, that everything will kind of then shift. And what I mean by everything is Mars, Venus, Mercury, right? And then almost right away we go into Pisces season. So the beauty of this, and the reason why I'm saying this to you is because it's almost like we're getting enough time in each season with, and sometimes a little too much depending on the season. I think by the end we're all sick of, whatever sign has happened. Like, we'll be sick of Capricorn, like doing the work and getting it done and focusing and being determined. Wait until we're in Aquarius season when your mind is like, okay, what do I get? Like, what's this? All of these things are happening. How do I put it into play? How do I systematically do all of this and make this? Okay, anyway, I just feel like we get enough time. So from the 9 to the 3 of Cups here, there is, I think, a part of the moment in this, and what Aquarius season is showing you is that the people that you need, the cups that you need, the cups that are for you, are meant to be with you. There's an exchange. There's a relationship. There's a ability to communicate and feel and celebrate, and also not be so focused on what the fruit is, but it's about what you're creating together. The experience, the moment, the presence. And I just talked to Leo all about that, so maybe you want to take a look at their reading. But it's this, what I have come to understand, and what's been said in other ways before, probably many times, the strength to understand what's happening in your presence. In this moment, right now, right here, with these people, at this time, and what's being presented to you internally and externally. And what you find is that you're able to really shift so much. And it's like, every Virgo will be like, well, why didn't I do this month? Like, why didn't I just... No, don't do that. Just do your best. Whenever that voice, or if you hear it externally from someone else, just so happens, because it's like what your subconscious may be feeling, address your subconscious in the way that you would now. So what? Now was the best time. Now is always the best time. And something for us to remember. I'm saying it to myself too. And you've come to a deeper understanding of yourself. in a way in which we'll get into the next part, because this month is a huge opportunity for you. It's almost like the awakening after the initial awakening. It's like you wake up, you know, in the mornings when you wake up and you're just like chill, or if you've like smoked a little, and then you're finally in the day. It's like that. You're like, okay, I'm finally here and ready and aware and conscious. And yeah, your process is just so interesting to me. There's also people here we're going to address too as well. And yeah, cutting it all loose. Maybe that is the name of your reading. Gotta write that down. All right, Virgo, we'll see you in the next part and next month.